You guys always give us a hard time saying we jump on the 40+ foot boats and we never show anything in the mid 20-foot range. Well, today we have one right in your sweet spot, the 250cc by EdgeWaterBoats. Pretty sweet build. We're going to check out the infusion process at the factory, run it offshore, take you through every little detail, and hopefully it lines up with what you're looking for. This thing can go with a single or dual outboards. It's got everything you need and more. So I'm here with Doug, Director of Product Development, and we're about to witness a full infusion on an Edgewater 250. So maybe Doug, if you don't mind taking us through what we're looking at here, I'm sure a lot of people would love to know.
Sure. The infusion process is pretty unique to Edgewater. Some other companies will infuse the hull, but really what's the difference between us and other companies is we infuse the hull, the stringers, all the bulkheads as one unit. A lot of the guys will just do the hull and then they'll hand lay in the bulkheads. Yeah. As you can see, it's all put together as one piece. It makes for a super strong, light hull. Every model is almost exactly the same weight because it's so controlled at this stage.
Yeah.
It's a process we pioneered many, many years ago.
I heard back like to 2005?
2005,
like
and we're pretty good at it. We really got it dialed in. Everything is the same weight, the same consistency, makes for a stronger, lighter, faster hull, and you'll experience that later today.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you that don't know what infusion is, I mean, there's two ways of building a boat. You can hand lay it, where they put the layers of fiberglass, throw the resin on it, grind it, throw another layer, and it's the way boats have been built forever. But they started infusing like this, and how Doug mentioned it, there's different ways of doing this. There's a science behind it. It's not easy to do. That's why a lot of companies don't do it. But if you get it dialed in, especially the way that they do it with stringers and bulkheads, I mean, you sandwich in one solid piece, it gets all the resin completely out, so you get an incredibly strong structure at the lightest weight possible. And getting each boat within a couple of pounds of each other, I mean, you'll never be able to do that in a hand-laid boat, no matter how hard you try it. So, very cool to see. It looks like a crazy science experiment, but love watching this.
And really what's going on, to get into details, is we pull a vacuum on the entire boat. That's what you see here. And there's a vacuum pull down. I think it's 14 PSI. And there's each tube, all the tubes are in different locations. They all go back to one location in a vat of resin. And if you can see, if you look up there, the orange or the red, that's the resin being pulled in at different times to start filling the process. They can only pull in so much resin because it's under a vacuum, and it fills in all the little nooks and crannies and voids to be a perfect ratio of glass to resin.
Yeah, and obviously this resin is going to kick at a certain point, so it's a very controlled time. The environment outside, the temperature has something to do with it. And then explain, I guess, all this that we're looking at. You have different tracks where I guess the resin flows through. You have the nylon, I guess, rope that allows it to breathe. I mean, take us through that.
Yep, the rope kind of allows the plastic to stand off to allow a little bit of gap or space so we can remove the plastic. But the different hoses and tubes you see go all over the different areas of the boat. You can't just have one, it can't pull in the resin from one hose. So you have to pull in multiple hoses to get the consistency throughout the hull. And then we go along, another process is they have to be snoop tested with a little sniffer. Every connection has to be checked for leaks, because if you have leaks, you lose vacuum and then it won't pull it in. So it's a very time sensitive project. It's expensive because all this material gets thrown away. Every model, when we do, all the consumables are then thrown out. But it's the right way to do it. It's the way to build a boat. Yeah. The better boat, and here we are, we're seeing it.
How much faster is this process from beginning to end, from laying the fiberglass into the mold and everything, infusing and let's say actually pulling it out? How long does it sit in here before you pull this hull out?
This will sit for several hours with the bag on it to let it kick off, and then it'll be pulled out. It's not really a time saver. It's just a better way to do it. Gotcha. It's just a better way. It actually takes a little bit more time to set this all up and to check for leaks and to run the hoses. And you can see just around here, there's 3 or 4 or 5 guys dealing with one hull. Yeah. So it's just the way we've always done it. It's the best way to do it, and that's what we've chosen to do and stay with.
Yeah, it's impressive to watch, and we've seen a lot of different companies from large and small attempt this, and You know, if that resin doesn't make it
literally
to a
see
corner and wet that corner,
Right.
you know, you could lose this entire
Yeah.
piece if you don't have it, you know,
You can
perfectly
literally
aligned
see
like
it.
you guys
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah, it's not. You can literally see the resin start impregnating the glass. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it takes a while because everything's such a vacuum and it's such a small area now.
Yeah.
So, but
Cool.
it's neat. Works well.
John knows what he's doing. He knows. We're going to
It's
follow
the
him
best
around.
way to do it. You're going to start from step one to step two.
Step one, so we can show you exactly how this thing happens. Obviously, we're seeing the infusion as it goes down, but there's a lot of prep that goes into that. As Doug mentioned, it's not really a quicker process, but ultimately, from what they say, it's a much better finished product when you're done doing it this way. So, it costs a little more money, but it's really nice to be able to control the exact final product, weight, how everything's distributed. You're putting this exact same amount of fiberglass. Go ahead, take us through. What are we
So
looking
right
at?
here we've got a boat that we're loading up. This is a 26 cc.
Okay.
All the glass on the sides and the bottoms get loaded up first.
Mm-hmm.
Then we turn it down this way. We load up in all of our stringers, tie them all in. It comes in like a big puzzle.
You just
put 'em
basically spray adhesive and stick
Then they
them.
all get glued down. It'll all get tabbed in, so it's all one solid piece.
Right.
You leave any little gap, won't be attached to the hull. So we glue it all down, tab everything in. Then we run all of our consumables in here, which we saw in the other boat earlier, which is all the flowies, our vacuum bag, our vacuum on top of the stringers. Get all that sucked down. We let it sit for at least 2 hours to 3 hours under vacuum, and then that's when we introduce the resin, which we can go back over there and look at that process.
All right, cool.
So after we bag everything, we get to this process, run all our vacuum lines and all of our resin lines into our little pot. We got our infusion rig here, which is going to pump all of our resin into the tub, which pre-mixes all the catalyst and resin to the right temperature. We start introducing resin into the boat a little bit at a time. We usually open up the bow first, then we'll start in the middle, down in the keel, and work our way out to the sides. And then we'll open up a little bit at a time so the boat will flow all at once
Evenly.
and finish all at once, so we're not waiting on any spot that's going to take longer.
It was funny when I asked. I was like, "How long does this take?" And John was like, "Oh, 22 minutes without even." So to have it dialed in like
this
that.
one was actually 15 to 17 minutes.
it was quicker?
It was a little bit quicker because it did sit longer overnight.
Oh, okay. So you normally do it. You normally let it sit under suction. You said a couple of hours.
Couple
This
hours.
one was 24 hours.
We're
since
usually
yesterday.
ready for infusion around 10 o'clock, and then what we usually do is around break time, around 1 is when we'll infuse it.
Okay. So, but the longer you keep it under suction,
The better it is. All
it'll
the
be?
materials and everything in there will compress even more to allow the resin to flow faster.
All right, very cool. I've always loved watching this process. It's amazing when a company has it dialed in where it's just like bing, bang, boom. And we've seen the good and the bad, but you know, that's why, again, everybody doesn't do it, and it definitely separates. And you guys watching at home, do your research when you look at a boat company, because every boat is not created equal. And there's a lot of great boats out there, but when you look under the hood, as I say sometimes, at the steps that they take to build a high quality boat, it makes a difference. So when you're comparing boats, you're comparing price points, you got to take all this stuff into consideration. And that's why we like, you know, walking with guys like you and learning about, you know, boats like Edgewater, and what you guys are doing here is fantastic. So
I appreciate it, man.
very good stuff.
Thank you guys for coming down.
No, man. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us. Now we got to ride one of these bad boys.
Yep.
Back to the water and pick it up. Back to the water and check it out. So now that we saw a bit of the manufacturing facility, we saw the infusion, that's always fun to see what kind of goes underneath the fiberglass, which is very important for most people to learn about. Main reason why we do these factory tours. Now we're gonna put the boat on the water, check out what the 250cc can do. And I have Justin here with me, which is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. So who better to take us through than this man right here. So I appreciate you coming out with us, but kind of wanted to, you know, get some information about this new model. What are the changes? What can people expect?
Okay, so Edgewater is an iconic brand, running surfaces that we have had for many years. So when Nimbus Group bought the company now just over 2 years ago, we didn't want to change what really worked. So this is the same running surface as our iconic 245, one of the Dougherty designed hulls from back in the day. It's a completely new deck to bring this boat truly into a contemporary offshore fishing family center console.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, some of the details that I recall, it has 140 gallons of fuel, 19 gallons of fresh water. Feels like a big 25 footer all the way up to the bow to that forward seating. So my first initial impression is that you feel like you have a lot of space for a 25. What's the beam on this?
8.6.
8.6.
And that's not an insignificant fact, because we wanted to make this an offshore battle wagon that you can still tow behind your car, not need a permit, not need to cut any corners. You can put this behind the family SUV, put it behind your house, go fishing on the weekend with the boys.
So this one has a single 350. You said it'll push us around 50 miles an hour, 51 maybe.
Yeah.
The twin configuration, what are you doing? Twin 150s, twin 200s? What's the max?
Twin 200s with launch. Then you also get the maneuverability option with Yamaha, and that will, again, usually you see an extra couple of miles an hour out of that, and obviously the whole shot's punchier.
Cool. Well, one thing I learned as well, which you have the twin engine, you do have a little bit more power, you have that, but you do have a little bit more friction underwater with those lower units, so it does balance out pretty close. The twins, usually will give you a little bit more overall performance, but again, it just depends what you guys do, what you want to spend, what fits your type of boating. So it's great that you guys offer both. You hit everybody. You don't have to make that decision just because manufacturer doesn't offer the other. Right. There was two routes we could have taken. We could have gone inside and just done the pretty glamour shots, drone footage, but no. They want to show us what this thing can do offshore. The wind's blowing a little bit, so they say we should see 3 to 5 footers out there. So we're going to really put this thing to the test and bring you guys along like we always do. All right, so they put me behind the helm here. Gonna see what this thing can do. We're coming out of the inlet. Obviously, these are standard with Seakeeper Ride?
Yes.
So Seakeeper Ride's obviously gonna make a big difference. Maybe we disengage it at some point just to see what the impact is with the Seakeeper Ride and without it. So I'm gonna jump up on plane, see what the whole shot looks like with the 350. There it is, quick and easy. Single 350 definitely seems like more than enough power. We got 4 grown men out on board. I don't know how much fuel we have on the boat. What do we have fuel-wise, you know?
About 40%.
40%? So jumped up on plane, no problem. We're running about 35 miles an hour here, nice easy cruise. We're at 16.8 miles per gallon. All right, so we're pulling out of the inlets. You can see the jetty is ending right here. Starting to get into the thicker stuff, and this is exactly what we were looking for. So I'm going nice and easy. I'm doing 21 miles an hour. Not looking to be a hero here, but we're going into a pretty direct head sea, making it out of the final channel markers, and Justin tells me the first guy to wet the windshield buying beers later, so I'm taking this very seriously. But no, I mean, just in this, you can feel that the hull is solid. You don't hear a rattle, you don't hear a shake. That's usually the first thing I look for when I run a boat in something like this. It's a pet peeve of mine to hear drawers and cabinets and things bouncing all over the place. So that's the first thing I look for, and it's passed that test. And I know you guys are gonna say it's 2 feet or less because the camera never reflects the actual seas, but you can see the movement. Eric is having a hard time holding his sea legs together, but let's give it a little bit more juice and see what happens. Damn it!
Beers!
Oh, shit! All right, it's windy out here, so I'm buying the beers. Again, when the wind kicks up like it's doing right now, the boat's doing what it's supposed to be doing, deflecting that water off to the side, but the wind coming from the port side and it's just throwing it slightly over to us. So not a lot of water. I didn't get wet. This enclosure's great. And again, this is rougher than what most people are even going out in. We'll see what it looks like once we get out of this channel. finished running the boat, and that's, you know, the fun part of this job. We get to feel them, you know, see what they're about, and I was very impressed. The combination of the 250cc with the Seakeeper ride is absolutely incredible. So, Justin, if you don't mind, let's start going through some of the details, starting at the bow. You know, what are we looking at on this new model in here?
Well, with the new model, we really maximized carrying the beam as far forward as we could, seeing these cutouts. So, you know, I like to refer to this as the reverse mullet. It's the party up front, business in the back. You've got plenty of room for the family. That insert there is for a table, so you can sit around here, have a meal, hang out, but there's more going on here. You've got access for a bow ladder if you're pulling up to a sandbar.
That's a great idea.
Of getting the boat stuck with the tide going out. You just get on and off from up there. That's something we take from our Swedish cousins. You can do anchor windlass set up in there if you want, but you also have plenty of storage. And you know, one thing that's different, this boat's got positive buoyancy, right? But we still have storage everywhere. Insulated cooler. You've got, Alan, you show off, got this. And, you know,
a lot of space in there.
It's finished. You got lights. You're gasketed. You know, it's a
very
premium
nicely
boat.
done. Large seats. You got, you know, cup holder, JL audio speakers there. This backrest, I assume, goes like that.
Yep.
Cuts in place. So really comfortable. And as Justin mentioned, if you look at this little cutout here, the cap thins up, so they widen out this forward seating space. This is a standard option, I believe you mentioned.
Standard. Everything you're seeing
So
here.
be able to sit back like this, have this much space, and be able to put a table in the middle and really be able to sit maybe 4 or even 6 people here is incredibly nice for a 25-foot boat. So we have an insulated cooler in deck right here, which will pop open. You can also use it as storage, but if you want to throw some ice in there, you know, with some drinks or food for a long trip, you have it. Forward-facing seat in front of the console. And Justin, I had to see this on the starboard side. There's basically hatches all the way down, if you notice. Let's go ahead and pop it open. And what do we have here? It's a huge box. Is this an insulated fish box, kill box?
It's insulated, but it's, you know, really a lockable rod storage if you
rack
want.
too.
And you notice how, you know, we went the extra step, and these are lockable.
Two purposes. You can use it as a kill box. You get large mahi, you can fit them there no problem. Put those rod holders back out of the way, and then you can lock rods if you're gonna, you know, grab some food or something.
And then so both on port and starboard, you have insulated fish boxes. They're macerated.
Yeah, that's great. Good size. Everything's finished under the hatches. Good quality hardware all the way through. You know, Gemlux hinges. This is pretty cool too. You got rod storage underneath the cap, and this bar right here, if I understand it correctly, is like a toe kick. So if you're fishing, you know, it's a great spot to be able to pin yourself in position and really be able to lean into a fish. So you do have those, you know, fishing features that I noticed. And the other side doesn't have it because we do have a door on that side, which we'll show you in a second.
Back here, a little bit more of the fish-oriented space here. Obviously, you've got the fish boxes, but this area you can really turn into a nice working space. You know, little things like having this door and having clean access, I think, is a big deal, so that you can get on and off the boat. It's clean, it's uncluttered, and you have a lot of space back here.
Yep. Retractable ladder there on the starboard corner.
Yes,
Is that what that is?
Right there. And then obviously you got your wash down.
Freshwater wash down, water fill. You got some 30-degree rod holders back here on the transom as well. Great spot to, you know, store some rods, as well as up here if you're going to be running long distances. And then, you know, being able to have this access to jump in and out of the boat. Not to mention the side door we're going to get to right now is nice. And the fact that it's actually, you know, in there already. You don't have to pull it out and actually place it in position. So we got a live well here. How many gallons are we looking at on this?
Big enough. I do know it's pressurized.
It's a mystery. I mean, it looks like what, 30 gallons maybe? 25, 30 gallons. So it's a good side here on the starboard, port side, I'm sorry. Then we'll walk forward. They have these little doohickeys, which are pretty cool for your fenders. Basically lift them up, you wrap them, and it's held by pressure. I hadn't seen these personally, but I saw you guys using them at the docks. Pretty cool. Right. And then we have the rod holder, cup holder combos by Gemlux, and then big cup holders for your Yeti cups there. And then let's crack this bad boy open.
It's definitely something that defines the Edgewater, is how we finish this off. There aren't any plates or metal brackets hiding the ugly bits.
Yeah.
This is built into the mold, and really just shows off a premium boat versus the other guys.
Yep. No, you guys do a nice job. These side doors are always a difficult task for these boat manufacturers to perfect. One thing that I noticed real nice, being a diver for a good part of my life, is how low to the water line this is. So if you're going in and out, even if you don't have tanks, I would free dive. All your gear, weight belt, jumping out from something that's this out off the water is no good. So being able to jump into this low to the water line and having the ladder to be able to pop in there is very comfortable, whether you're at a sandbar or spear fishing.
And certainly no spray as we were hitting the bigger water, right?
Nothing that I noticed. Eric, I don't know, you were flying the drone back there?
Nope.
You didn't notice anything either, so that's a big part. Sometimes those gaskets are hard to get. The seal isn't exactly how you want it, and some water will just kind of spray and wreck everybody in this rear seat. So none of that. Can say we passed that test with a A+.
Also should point out that this is essentially the standard setup here. This is a little optional add-on, a checkbox on the build sheet, but we can do an aquarium live well back here. That's an optional setup if you want it to be far more fish oriented and a workstation back here.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's nice to have cup holders. You can stick some pliers, some knives in there, and then the retractable cooler to throw your drinks. It's always convenient to have it under the leaning post. So, is this something you guys make custom here too?
We've got a supplier for that, but that is our Edgewater iconic seat that we've been building for a long time. And
it's pretty. Retractable bolster, nice, simple, clean. It's got armrests, and even the hardware is nice and simple and clean, which I always like to see it, in that way.
It's worth pointing out that aside from this piece, everything you see back here, it's standard.
It's standard?
This is how you'd see it if you just bought a standard.
So I stepped into the cabin here, and for a 25-footer, you have a good amount of headspace. So I'm sitting down, you got access to a couple of your batteries here. You have your battery switches, access to your rigging. Some of this yellow stuff is corrosion blocker, so they label everything properly, make it easy to troubleshoot, and then they protect it so it doesn't actually corrode, which is great. You got your battery charger back here, JL audio amp, and then obviously your head, which I'm sitting on just for scale of size. In front of me, I have some storage. You can throw some bags in here if you want to get them off the deck. So again, for a 25-footer, great space. So we're here at the Helm. Justin, go ahead and take us through. What's standard, what's not? What can people expect when they're purchasing a 250cc?
Okay, so standard's a single engine setup. You do not have to have Garmin or any electronics if you're looking for doing your own thing. We typically see most of our dealers and customers ordering at least a single Garmin 16. We've got 3 different options. We can either do twin screens or the big long screen that's new from Garmin this year. Here, this is the upgraded Fusion sound system with the JL audio speakers, amp, sub. It does the thump thing. Or you do have a standard option. This boat has the optional setup. Seakeeper ride is standard. So you have that, and we've talked enough about how it makes this boat ride. And then if you do the twins, you can do this, and then you also would get a joystick if you wanted the full maneuverability from Yamaha.
Yeah, well, it's a nice layout. The big screen is really nice. I do like that. Scan strip chargers for your phone, comfortable. You have your mic for your VHF right here. The enclosure worked great. We did take a couple of sprays when we got into that thick stuff out of the inlet. Protected us well, and that wiper is super cool.
Right.
Sprays fresh water. When you get salt water on anything, you have to usually hit it, even on your glasses. You can't just really wipe it. You got to hit it with fresh water, and this thing has the spigot to be able to shoot the fresh water and keeps it perfectly clean. They do have a really nice bent D pipe in a satin black finish, which I personally love, and a little vent opening that allows a little bit of a breeze to come in here when you're running at a cruising speed.
Hit the button, and that'll close if it gets
Window
cold.
Vent close?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, I got to keep it? All right. So there it is. That's cool. It's such a small detail, but it is so noticeable. I have a classic Mustang, and it has no AC, has 2 vented windows on the corner, and it just deflects wind at you.
You need the
so
wind.
that right there is like,
on the sticky days.
amazing when you're not gonna have AC on this boat. Otherwise, we have a bit of storage up here. Your Garmin VHF up top, and then a couple of those switches, just in case of redundancy. You can do it all through your digital switching on the Garmin. So Justin, I noticed these taco things. What are these antennas? What are we looking at here?
The 2 VHF antennas, and then your navigation lights. So if you've got a bridge that you have to deal with on a regular basis, instead of monkeying up there,
Jumping up there, you just twist it right there? That's pretty cool. Actually, I didn't notice until right now. It's a good idea, not having to jump up, especially if you're by yourself. Real quick, just drop them down, bring them back up.
We'll do a lot of different customization options on the price sheet. We're still a production boat builder, so it's not, we want to change the console and put it a different spot on the boat, but but we could do different colors. We can match the hull here. You could do a different color here. The powder coating, there's 3 available colors. We'll do a gray, we'll do a white, and we'll do this black. So you've got a good bit of customization to make this your boat when you're ready to buy a premium boat.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our full walkthrough on the EdgeWaterBoats 250cc. So it gives you a little bit of everything. That 8.6 beam that runs all the way to the bow, the option to do the single 350 or the twin 200s. You know, it's a great versatile boat in a size range that's great for a lot of people. So we hope you enjoyed the walkthrough. Hope it provided valuable information. If there's anything we can answer for you, drop them in the comments. But as always, my name is Alan with Center Consoles Only. We thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again very soon.